Hey everyone, these are the anime that my wife and I are watching for winter of 2023. I'll give you a short synopsis of the anime, my first thoughts on them without any spoilers, and if I recommend it or not. First is The Angel Next Door Spoils Me Rotten. So this one's a slice of life romance show. The main character is a high school boy who really isn't that popular. I think he only has like one friend. So while he's walking home in the rain, he sees the most popular girl in his class sitting on a swing getting drenched. He hands his umbrella to her and then runs off. Well, it turns out that she lives right next door to him. Since he lent her his umbrella, he ends up getting sick, so she helps nurse him back to good health. They don't interact at all at school, but after school they hang out and she spoils him rotten by cooking and cleaning for him. This one isn't like a lot of other rom-coms I've seen so far. There's a bit of humor in it, but I'd say that this one is far more on the chill and wholesome side. There isn't much fan service either. Even though the two main characters are in high school, they both live alone, so it feels a tad bit more mature than most other high school anime. So I recommend this anime if you want a laid back and wholesome romance show. Next is Kubo Won't Let Me Be Invisible. So the premise of this show might sound a bit similar to The Angel Next Door Spoils Me Rotten, but I promise it's actually a totally different experience. The main character is a high school boy that has such a low presence he is almost invisible. Other students at school walk right past him and his teacher even marks him absent when he's clearly there. He doesn't get bullied or anything, but honestly I think that being invisible is probably worse than being bullied. But there is one girl in his class, Kubo, who can always spot him. This show feels similar to Teasing Master Takagi-san if you've seen that. Kubo does tease the main character Shiraishi, but not relentlessly like Takagi-san does to Nishikata. The show is wholesome because Shiraishi seems to have just accepted that he's invisible and is almost content to live out his life that way. But Kubo is somewhat persistent in acknowledging his existence and hanging out with him. The show doesn't feel quite as mature as The Angel Next Door Spoils Me Rotten, and it also doesn't quite feel as youthful as Teasing Master Takagi-san, but that's the closest anime I can compare this to. So I don't think this has any fan service or drama in it. So I recommend watching this if you like funny and wholesome rom-coms. This one should be safe for all ages. Next is Tomo-chan is a Girl. So the main character, Tomo-chan, is a high school tomboy. She's athletic, not the most feminine, and she has a crush on her childhood best friend. But since she's such a tomboy, her crush kind of treats her more like a male best friend. So the premise of the show is that Tomo-chan is trying to get her childhood best friend to see her as a girl and to hopefully like her back too. I'd say that this one's the funniest so far. I recommend watching this show if you want to watch a rom-com with a little more emphasis on the humor. Next is The Ice Guy and His Cool Female Colleague. This one is yet another wholesome anime that's a little more on the chill side. Another unique thing about this anime is that its main characters are adults rather than high school students. Our main character, Himuro, is a descendant of a snow woman, so he possesses some ice powers that unintentionally come out based on how he's feeling. So for example, when he's nervous, his feet become frozen in ice, or when he's stressed out, he causes a blizzard to form around him. So on Himuro's first day of work, he falls for one of his new coworkers, Fuyutsuki. He initially falls for her because she's really helpful with his ice-related issues. Another thing that makes this anime stand out is the fact that Himuro isn't exactly subtle about his feelings for Fuyutsuki, but she is still somehow completely clueless. I'm a lot more used to seeing the guy be clueless. This one probably has more funny moments than The Angel Next Door Spoils Me Rotten, and is probably also a tad bit more wholesome. I recommend this if you want to see another wholesome rom-com, but with a slight supernatural twist. Next is Now I'm Your Sister. Okay, so the premise might sound weird for this one, but it's surprisingly wholesome. The main character, Mahiro, is a guy who stays at home all the time playing naughty video games. He doesn't have a job, and he's super lazy. One day he wakes up to find out that he's turned into a girl. It turns out that his younger sister, who is sort of a scientific genius, experimented on him against his will. The transformation is supposed to be temporary, but since no one is really sure of how long this will last, he has to get used to living life as a girl for a while. The show focuses a lot on Mahiro's relationship with his sister. As he struggles to do basic women things, his sister is really supportive and helpful, and the two start bonding. There are some dirty jokes in this, so I wouldn't recommend this if you're looking for an anime to watch with the family. But I do recommend this anime if you're looking for a pretty wholesome slice of life comedy. Next is My Life as Inukai-san's Dog. This one is an ecchi comedy show. In this one, our main character wakes up to find out that he's been reincarnated as a puppy. The girl he has a crush on at school finds him on the street and then adopts him. He seems to retain most of his memories from when he was a high school boy, but he doesn't seem to recall how or why he became a dog. Some situations were a little too gross for me, like when Inukai licked his snout at one point, but most of the other scenes in the show are really funny. The episodes are only around like 10 minutes long, which is a bit of a bummer, but I recommend this show if you don't mind ecchi comedies without a real plot and just kind of want to turn your brain off and laugh. Next is NieR Automata. I actually never played any of the NieR games, so I was excited to see that an anime came out since I was always curious about its story. This story is set in a post-apocalyptic world where humanity was nearly brought to extinction by an alien invasion. They also brought robots with them that seem to be reproducing somehow. Our main characters are the androids 2B and 9S that fight for humankind. The premise of the story is really interesting, and I think that the action is really great. I recommend this show show if you like sci-fi, action, and fantasy, even if you haven't played any of the NieR games. The final show I'm watching this season is My Hero Academia Season 6. So far, this has been my absolute favorite season of My Hero. Without spoiling anything, the stakes are higher than they've ever been, and we're also seeing some of the biggest changes to the world yet. Deku is just one of my favorite shonen protagonists of all time. But my favorite part of this season in particular is diving deeper into the Todoroki's family lore. Also, watch out for the one recap episode in the middle of the season. I accidentally spent a few minutes of my life watching it. So I obviously like rom-coms the most out of any genre, so if there's anything I'm missing that you think I should watch, let me know in the comments below. Also, let me know what you're watching this season. Thank you so much for watching.